It is a dark moment for Africa, a miscarriage of justice in what we observe in Nigeria today, as far as the verdict of the election tribunal, petition tribunal, sat in Abuja. It will go down into the annals of history that Justice Samane and all those revered, in quote, judges who sat in for days and weeks, listened to the different petitions summoned by Peter Gregory B., Atiku Abubakar, and also the MP party, all for the Labour and also the PDP party, calling in question several issues as far as the February election is concerned. One would have thought that the Nigerian judicial system will do the needful and will prove that Nigeria remain the symbol of democracy, freedom after speech and of speech, and also freedom during speech. One would have also expected to see the Nigerian justice system to continue in the light of what was done in Kenya in 2017 by Chief Justice David Maraga and co. And God bless Chief Justice David Maraga. Lasha Kingsley, I'll paint the picture as it is. For quite some time, I followed the election tribunal petition, sitting after sitting, analysis after analysis, and it was clear that the Nigerian judicial system, if the worst come to the worst, they will call for a rerun of the election. And when we witness what happened today, I'll go from the first aspect, I'll go constitutionally. The major bone of contention that the Nigerian judicial system, Chief Justice Samani, has made us to understand is that all of us need to go back to school and study English language, basic English language.
What do you mean?
Because when we look at the Nigerian Constitution, 1996, Section 134 and Section 135 of the 1996 Constitution, not the 1999 Constitution, not the 1996, the 1999 Constitution, which stipulate that a person shall deem victorious of the election after you must have won 2/3 of the total state or the state, and also and that conjunction. That's why I say they have made us to go back to school. And the federal capital and have 25% of the federal capital territory. And in today's verdict, which is a miscarriage of justice from my perspective, is that Chief Justice Samani made us to understand that Abuja is not a special status, is not under special status. And now I want to put it to those legal experts who gave the readings and the interpretation by Chief Justice Samani. If you say Abuja is not special, what happened to the Constitution that states in 134 sub 2 that you must have 2/3 of the valid vote and the federal capital territory, and you say it is not a special status? Then why does Abuja not have a governor? Abuja doesn't have a governor.
We have an illegitimate governor.
Yes.
Yeah, is that what you're
yes,
saying?
by the Constitution, the president, that's why they say you must have 25% of Abuja, only 25%. That means the people in Abuja have the right to at least give you the position. On 21, they don't. The Constitution says you must have 50%, just 25. And now, the second issue: why is it that Abuja has just one senatorial seat as compared to all the other states in Nigeria? If you say Abuja has no special status, Abuja is a state in Nigeria, who is the governor of Abuja? Chief Justice Samani. Why is it that Abuja has just one senatorial seat as compared to all the other states? Chief Justice Samani. Why is it that Abuja has just 2 representatives of House of Representatives as compared to all the other in Abuja? Why is it that Abuja has a minister in the federal capital, which is Yeso Wike? Why is it that Abuja in itself, the president doesn't actually take full issues as far as the legitimacy of is concerned? Why is it We have other states that have their own House of Assembly. The Abuja, let's look at the Abuja House of Assembly, Senatorial House of Assembly. Now, in 2017, in Kenya, that was the first historic moment where we witnessed that Africa's judicial system became independent, where Chief Justice David Maraga stood firm against the incumbent, who was President Uhuru Kenyatta, and also William Ruto against Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, in 2017, when the petition went to the Supreme Court, which sit in as the Constitutional Council, after the petitions were listened to, counter evidences were given and cross-examination, Chief Justice David Maraga stood and said, I have the right to uphold the Constitution, and that the Constitution is supreme than any other, and nobody can pressure me to give a verdict other than what the founders inscribed in the Constitution. And in that verdict, he said, the election which the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, known as IEBC in Kenya, had announced that President Uhuru had won the election against Raila Odinga. The Constitutional Council or the Supreme Court nullified the election and said the incumbent did not win following the legitimate process as prescribed by the Kenyan Constitution. And so it was cancelled. And so therefore one would have expected that the spirit of that goodwill will continue in Nigeria. That is the biggest black nation in the world, and also the biggest black economy in the world, and also the biggest democracy in quote.
Jarvis, the way you speak, one will have the impression that Tinnibu did not win that election.
Lasha Kingsley, Tinnibu did not win that election in all fairness, and I'm not mixing words in my mouth. The Nigerians who are watching me, I followed that election before, during the campaign, after the election, post-electoral petition, and today I still follow the election. I monitor all elections across Africa. And to tell you in all honesty, Tinnibu supporters, where were they in all the polling stations where the results were tripping in? Second, where were they when people were streaming their live result? Lasha Kingsley, your supporters are not ghost supporters. Are you telling me that it were flies, airborne, that came, oxygen, and voted for Tinnibu, that they had a good number of votes? I'm not saying that he did not win in some areas. I want to go constitutionally, because if I go by the context of what we saw in the February election, it was a sham. People were being beaten, people were wounded, some were killed in an attempt to cast their ballot. And in some police station, they said, if you are not voting APC, caught on camera, don't vote in this polling station. It became a tribal issue where people who were of the other extradition from Southeast and those from the Igbo land were being victimized by virtue of the fact that they were supporting Peter Gregory Obi. Far from that, I want to go constitutional so that we look at it from a legal perspective. Section 134 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, it states that a candidate for an election of the office of president shall be deemed to have been duly elected where there been only two candidates for the election. A, he has the majority of votes cast at the election, and B, he has not less than, he has not less than 1/4 of the vote cast at the election in each at least 2/3 of all states in the federation and the federal capital territory, Abuja, full stop. 2 of 134 of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution states a candidate for an election of the office of president shall be deemed to have been duly elected where, there being more than 2 candidates for the election. Sub A in sub 2, he has the highest number of votes cast at the election, and he, that's B, and he has not less than 1/4 of the vote cast at the election in each of at least 2/3 of all states in the federation and the federal capital territory. And now 3 states in default of a candidate duly elected in accordance with section 2 of this section, there shall be a second election accordance with section 4 of this section, at which only candidate shall be.
Let me just stop you there. Big book. How, with all these provisions of the constitution that you are reading now, how was Tinnibu, how did he manage to be sworn in as
Lasha, the Nigerian, just that's why I say Nigerian election.
Swearing somebody that has not met the
Nigerian election need a lot of reforms, not just at the level of vote cast, but they need reform also at the electoral procedures and process, because we have said it here. And I want to say that this gives room for shenanigan politicians to make use of their money, to take their money and make use of the system and thwart the system. According to Nigeria electoral process, when people go to the poll, they cast their ballot, the Nigerian Independent Commission, National Independent Commission, INEC, has the mandate to declare who wins the election after having read section 134 of the Constitution. Then a president is sworn in and election petitions continue after swearing in.
So it means that the Constitution now is Bafia dance.
You Constitution, that's why we say the Constitution is so, it was done in good faith that the judicial system shall be independent. But as we see, the politicians who are looting Nigerians' funds, as it's common in all African states, Cameroon is not an exemption to this. The Constitution in Nigeria ought to be supreme, whether it's meant for Bafia dance or not. They have made us to understand that they need an amendment. Because why is it that you only go and petition the election after when the person has been sworn in and take position of the executive arm? See, Ali, there was a renowned scholar in Ghanaian who said that the judicial system is not independent, and I buy with him. And I have this message to say, Lasha, before you take the mic. It's an appeal to Nigerians to understand that all hope is not lost. The lunatic may be few and claiming to own the place, but there come a time in one's political history and life that the voice of the people is in their hands and not in the offices and not in one particular station. And I have said this before, that those who are protecting these same shenanigan politicians, when these politicians will go on retirement, they will enjoy their retirement benefit, they have bulletproof cars. And when you, the police officers, when you, the military men and women, when you who stole the election and gave it in their favor, when you shall go on retirement, you shall queue around the busy street of Lagos for traffic for God knows when you shall leave that traffic. You shall queue in hospitals that are already dilapidated and probably have long term of treatment. These politicians, their children don't school in Nigeria. Their children don't go to hospital in Nigeria. We just witnessed how one was convicted in London for trafficking because the child went for treatment in UK. Their children doesn't school in Nigeria. So when you will go on retirement, you the police officers, you the military attaché, I'm not talking about the bigger military attachés, you shall be the person to feel the brunt of this bad politics.
Okay.